Dual access charts are used to show more than one measurement on a single chart. Instead of looking at this chart here and going, okay, I'm measuring both the books and the MP3s off of the single measurement here, you can add a dual measurement, which means 2, over to the right-hand side, which would be the secondary axis or the secondary vertical y-axis. And so what do we want to measure over there? You choose. Do you want to measure books or the MP3s? In fact, you can switch both of them over to the secondary and have nothing on the primary. It's up to you. In any case, to go ahead and add the secondary over here, and let's measure it for books. Now, just looking at books, do you agree with me that the book sales overall are less than the MP3s, even if it's just by a little? The primary is going to be for the MP3s. That's at 1,200. And I'm guessing that when I switch the books off of the primary over to the secondary here, the measurement at its highest level, because it's a little bit less than the MP3s, might be at around 1,000. In any case, let's go ahead and add the secondary access by double-clicking anywhere on the chart to bring up the task pane. Let me go ahead and scroll over. Once the task pane is brought up, go ahead and select the data series, and that's for the books here by clicking on any one of these red column bars. Select the entire series, then come over here in the task pane and select series options, and there you go. By default, it's tied to the primary. When I go to secondary, notice how it adds a secondary, and look at the measurement, the largest measurement, how they're leveled here for both the primary and secondary. It's 1,200 and 1,000. How does that work? Well, remember, the book sales were a little bit less than the MP3 sales, so it doesn't need a larger number to measure it with as far as the highest in sales for the entire year of 2013. So it doesn't have to go up that far, where MP3s do. So you don't want to take the book sales for May and go, oh, let's measure it over here, because that would be incorrect. You're measuring it over to the right-hand side. How do you tell? Well, let me just go ahead and hover over one of these accesses here. The secondary vertical is not going to give you a pop-up and say, hey, we're measuring books here. So what we need to do is to go ahead and add access titles, as we learned in an earlier training video. And to do that, you can click on the plus sign, of course, to add chart elements. There's access titles, or to add chart elements, it's up here on the design tab, and you can get the drop-down list there. Since it's here, let me go ahead and check it. It adds it for the, well, secondary, primary, and the primary x-axis. In fact, if you come over here and you expand it, you can see it checked all of them but the secondary horizontal. I don't have a secondary horizontal, I just have the primary. But I do have a primary vertical and a secondary vertical. Okay, in any case, once they've been added, let me click off in a blank area here to go ahead and name them and say, okay, for this axis, we're measuring the category books. You can click inside, but it's not comfortable for me. I'm not used to that horizontal cursor. It's a bit awkward, so for me, I'll just go ahead and click on the border of it, come up here in the formula bar, and as long as I have that access title box selected, and I start typing up in the formula bar, and I enter in the name of it up in the formula bar, which is books, hit enter, automatically replaces the text there. So let me go ahead and select access title there. Up in the formula bar, this is for MP3, hit enter. And then, months is self-explanatory here for the horizontal axis. So let me select it, hit the delete key, and hey, there we go. Now the problem that I run into here is that, for the books, that's great, but what about the sales for MP3s? I can't see it behind the books. It's being overshadowed. Couple things you can do. They're not the best of options, but they are an option. Is you can go ahead and select one of the series here and come back over in the task pane with it still open, click on series option and mess with the gap width and try to go ahead and shrink it up for 1, or let me undo that. Oops, let me go back and select it for the MP3s, and let's go ahead and go the other way with the gap width. And so you see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be able to see the MP3 sales behind the book sales when the book sales is more than the MP3s, to see if I can go ahead and take a look at them here. There's the books, there's the MP3. It's okay. The other option is that you could convert this into another chart, by maybe a line chart might be better. Right click up above it so we can change the chart type. We could try line, and let me do something with markers and click okie dokie. Now when I do that, it removes the secondary axis, so all I have to do is go ahead and select one of the categories that I want on the secondary. You can see it's not there. Then come back over here in the task pane, select series options, and select secondary so we can go back to where we were before and click off. That's not as bad as the column. I mean, when it comes to noticing and viewing the two categories separately, at least when one is selling more than the other, it doesn't overlap it like we had in the column chart. So hey, maybe that works. Don't forget you can add your data labels to it by, well, you can right-click on a marker and then go down to Add Data Labels. You can do callouts. Don't forget that when you add them, you can also click on one of them, select the entire series of labels, click on it again to isolate one, and then click and drag it out. So you can pinpoint it here, not have it, well, overlapping on the other labels there so it gets too confusing. In any case, those are some options if you decide to use the secondary access. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.